And at first we're like, well, of course not. Those are replicas. The real ones they got rid of. And he's like, no, I don't mean it like that. I mean, there's no way they use canoes like that. We're like, what are you talking about? These big wooden canoes?
Ready to do it?
Blink.
Blink.
How you
doing,
been,
dude?
my guy? Oh man, talking over each other. That's how this technology works, doesn't it?
What's up? How you been?
Good. I just got back from Wolf Point, beautiful middle of nowhere, Montana, as I like to also refer to it as.
Oh yeah.
Got a snowstorm. Got one of those famous October snowstorms in Montana. 16 inches here in Billings, Montana.
Is there still snow out your window now?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, well, it's dark right now, but like the roads and stuff are all melted off. But the problem is when you get these like 30-degree days, 40-degree days, then it drops down in the 20s, 10s, black ice on the roads, all the roads, when that snow melts. But yeah, we got on Sunday, there were 16 inches.
Rain, dear. It's been raining. It's supposed to keep raining. But that's Oregon weather. The rain, everyone knows the rain's coming, and I think it's finally coming.
There you go. This is kind of one of those interesting snowstorms that came down from Canada, and it just stayed. The snow really stayed on the eastern front of the Rockies. So, like out in Wolf Point, they got snow, but they got a dusting that was gone by Saturday. So,
oh, nice.
It was kind of cool too. On my drive back, I was driving and I saw those telephone wires, right? And some telephone wires have the big like canisters on them that whatever they do something electrical.
Yeah.
I'm driving and like I'm looking at these ones. I'm like, okay, like that one has 2 on it, like on each side. All these other ones don't have any. I'm like, oh, I wonder what's that? As I'm driving, because it's so flat and so you can see for miles, so you can see it. Like, all right, there's something on that. I get by driving it 2 golden eagles.
Oh,
just
snap.
hanging out. I didn't know they hung out and sat like that out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're big dudes. That's what I thought. Yeah.
They're big.
And I was like, that's why I thought they were canisters up on those things. Cause like, okay, yeah, like transformer box, whatever. And I was just like, no way. And I was like, that's cool. That was a cool experience.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. That's my Wolf Point, man. Always birds. I hit another bird on that road.
Oh yeah, that's right. You texted me saying you killed another bird.
It was flying, this one. This one wasn't running like the last one.
Shoot. Poor guy.
I don't want to do it, but like, don't fly into my car.
Yeah, the guy that put down Harambe said the same thing. I don't want to do it.
No one wanted.
R.I.P. Harambe.
I lived in Cincinnati. I've been to the Cincinnati Zoo. That's murder. Murder Harambe. That kid wanted to be in the cage. If anything, ban that kid from the zoo and let Harambe stay.
Right. I'm a poor guy. No, my weekend was actually low-key pretty cool.
Yeah.
I went mushroom hunting.
Yeah.
I went mushroom hunting, which, I love mushrooms. As you guys probably all know if you check out my Instagram or have listened to this podcast. You've heard me talk about mushrooms once or twice.
Well, I see that you were going to cook these ones. We
did.
Yeah, that's
put them on a nice steak. Actually, I think it was elk we had it on.
Woo!
Oh yeah, no. We what did we do? We didn't catch. We found like 3 lobster mushrooms. Sorry. We had like 3 lobster mushrooms, which, about like, I don't know, pretty decent size to be real. And then we had like 12, 15 chanterelles, which are super yummy. We just found this one really sweet spot and like got all of them. in that one spot. It was my first time going, so I never really identified chanterelles before, so it was kind of cool. It's a lot easier than I thought it would be. I think once you know what they look like, you know what they look like. The lobster mushrooms are super easy to see and know what they are, but super delicious for sure.
How would I how would I know? What are some
So yeah, and I mean I don't want to give out too much because gosh dang it, I'm gonna take another sip of water. So I got something. Maybe it's COVID in my throat.
No, exactly, right? There we go. You get that water down. Come on
Yeah.
now, bud.
No, so they kind of fan out, and chanterelles fan out a little bit, not like as big as my hands are going, but they're like fan out, and they have not gills but like ribs as they like kind of round, and they have ribs that run down, and there's things called false chanterelles which look identical to them, except the ribs that come down have like a very distinct line that they like stop at.
Oh.
Actual chanterelles kind of, they don't have that real distinct line in them, and so and they're kind of like an orangish brown color to it. It's one of those things for sure. Once you see like a couple and stuff, like you can pick it up like that. And then the lobster ones, they're kind of like a bright red, kind of meaty little thing.
And you're holding your hands out
Yeah.
on the video screen here. How big would you say that is, like in comparison?
The first one I found, I'd say it's probably like, an inch wide to like a couple inch and a half, 2 inches long type deal.
Okay.
And it's kind of just like a meaty little ball almost, or like little, I don't know, oval. Kind of feel, they're kind of cool. So, no, that was a ton of fun. And then literally the next day, went up to Washington and went clamming for the steamer clams.
Oh, wow, what a weekend.
I know, right? And those, I mean, like anybody can do that one, like razor clamming, which we do a lot out here on the Oregon coast. You got to find the hole, right? You got to dig kind of quick so that way you can get them before they get away. These, take a knife or a rake, walk out and like the muddiness and just start going. Like I had a knife, like old kitchen knife type deal, bent over. I just start cutting in the line, like these lines, and you go until you hear like a rock, and you just kind of dig it out. And if it's an inch, which is about the size of the middle knuckle separation, it's a keeper. You get like 40 of them. We ended up getting like 240 for the day between everyone getting their limit.
Wow, look at you going out there.
Ate those guys up that night. They were a delicioso.
Oh man, living the coasty life out there in the North Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it is very coasty.
Which is actually kind of exciting, in the Pacific Northwest, because we have some things that are cooking up there, coming up for the future for our folks listening live, as well as our guest. We're going to have a guest on today.
Yeah,
and he was recently in the Pacific Northwest for the first time, I believe. First time out actually in California.
Yeah, I don't know where he was, if you count that really Pacific Northwest.
Some people do. Some people count Northern California do. It's not the Oregonians or the Washingtonians. It's the Northern Californians that call themselves part of the Pacific Northwest. So that's why I throw it out there, folks.
Yeah, no, but anyways, our guest is I mean, you know him. Why don't you give the intro?
This man goes back to my days working at Pompey's Pillar. He was the closest one in age with me while we were out there. We would go out. He was there on my 21st birthday, at the bars. We'd go out and do all the fun things in Montana that we could do. He's actually one of the big reasons that I push go out and do something. And when I was living in Cincinnati, forced myself to do something every weekend because he was doing that out here in Montana. When he lived out in Montana, he would say, I'm going to Yellowstone Park this weekend. I'm going to Glacier this weekend. I'm going to this national forest this weekend. I'm going to this state park that weekend. And that to me, you know, got me going on that. And I really appreciate thanking for it. And he's what we call a career park ranger because he's making his career in the parks. I just want to welcome on, you know, your next future stay-at-home dad, Alexander Johnson, park ranger.
Yeah, before we jump to it, you know, check him out. He runs the social media for the national forest he works at, the Hoosier National Rainforest or National Forest in Indiana. So check it out at U.S. Forest Service / Hoosier National Forest. So U.S. FORESTSERVICE Hoosier National Forest HOOSIERNATIONALFOREST. I really hope I spelled Hoosier right. I'm not 100% on that one. But
so if he did, you can go ahead and shout out us on any of our social medias. We'll happily send you a link, or you could email us at quartzlakeproductions@gmail.com or wanderingwayspodcast@gmail.com. WANDERYWAYSPODCAST@gmail.com. And we will respond. We'll give Alexander a big shout out. And he said, go ahead and send him a message and say, we love the parks. And he'll know it's you. He'll know we sent you. we sent you to him.
Yeah, no, but super excited. Get talking, super great. You know, but I mean, shoot, you got anything before we jump into this puppy?
I'm ready. Let's go. This is exciting.
All right, let's bring it on. Alexander, the park ranger. So Ranger Alexander.
We'd like to welcome you to the Wandering Ways podcast. You know, and maybe just give our listeners a brief example of who you are, what you do, what you've done. Just give us a little background.
Absolutely, yeah. So, yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be a part of this. And, so I currently, I am a, the federal government always decides to make things a little more difficult. So I am a visitor services information assistant is my technical term. Basically, I'm an interpretive ranger. So that's what I do for my career. I work on the Hoosier National Forest in southern Indiana. Now I'm living in Kentucky with my wife. So I just cross the Ohio River every morning, and 20, 30 minutes I'm at the ranger district at the office. Our forest is a little over 200,000 acres. Mainly, you'd think Indiana, you think like cornfields and flatlands and kind of just ugly, but it's way in the southern part, so it's not that. It's more ravines and valleys and some good-sized hills. Nothing like the Rockies, of course, and not even close. But kind of the real foothills of almost the Appalachians. So you're starting to get some hills.
Do you get the colors in the trees this time of year?
Yeah, so our fall colors are going off right now. Probably, I think they call them peepers. People are calling in and asking, "Hey, can I come see the leaves and stuff now?" So hell yeah, come visit. So it's fun. I've been on the forest for now about 2.5 years. Before that, I worked at Pompey's Pillar National Monument out in, I'm sure you talked about it some, out in just outside of Billings, Montana, where I met Zach, and gosh, it was probably, 3.5, 4 summers out there.
Yeah.
So I love that. and before that was school, an internship, and before that schooling for this type of work. So that's kind of been my life dedication, is to do something like this. So I'm I kind of feel that feeling of, you enjoy what you do, you don't work a day in your life. So.
Oh, I feel that. What kind
So,
of
yeah.
schooling do you get for like being a park ranger and all that?
Yeah. So it's pretty broad. Luckily, they're pretty flexible, like with their requirements. But for someone who's really interested in it, if they're hoping to get like into the parks, a history is a good base, because all the parks have some type of history that, as a interpreter, you're going to be asked to share, and that's the goal. If you want to do this job, that's what you're hoping to do anyway, is to share the culture, not the history, and the cultures that utilize the area. So history is a great one. Kind of, anything in the public facing. So like even a public affairs type, degree type of thing, or even not necessarily a degree, but background, is very beneficial.
Nice. That sounds it sounds like something where if you really enjoy it, it could be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And every day is different. That's good. That's a good thing. You never there's some days that might drag on a little bit, like anything, but for the most part, every day is a little different, and you never know. There's some people you interact with that are you don't you hate to say it, but you're like, man, I just wish you weren't here. But they are few and far between. Most people you interact with are just great, and you never know where the day's going to head with interacting with the public. So,
I bet you get a wide range of, questions and comments where you're just like, oh, I don't know how the heck you get out of bed every morning, to like, oh man, that was actually a real thoughtful question.
Right. Yep. You come through the full spectrum for sure.
That one, I've used it as an example before, but you were there for the canoe question. So
yes,
go ahead. You can explain the canoe,
sure.
Why it's a dugout canoe, and then go into it a little bit. This is of those people in the parks. This is one of those stories that I can't believe it happened.
Yeah, sometimes you get questions or comments where you have to think, not because it's like a thought-provoking question, but really you don't know how to answer because it's so ridiculous. There's really no other way to put it. Yeah, so Zach and I, we were, a big part of the position at Pompey's Pillar was giving interpretive tours and programs, whether it be for school school groups coming out, or just your average visitor. And you get a full, like we said, a full range of questions. But one person, one time, me and Zach and others, we made replica dugout canoes because like Lewis and Clark used them. So, out of big old cottonwood trees, we carved those guys up and chopped them out and put them on display. And on one tour, an individual asked or stated that, hey, Lewis and Clark used those canoes. And at first we're like, well, of course not. Those are replicas. The real ones they got rid of. And he's like, no, I don't mean it like that. I mean, there's no way they use canoes like that. We're like, what are you talking about? These big wooden canoe? He goes, yeah, but wood does not float. And it's things like that where you're just you almost question what because when someone is, and he was so adamant about it. He was so sure of himself that you question yourself. Wait a minute, does wood float? You're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I've seen it a million times. So yeah, it was. It's one of those things. You're just like, well, sir, it does. And if you don't believe us, we worked right next to the Yellowstone River. There's a river 200 feet away. You can go there and stand there for 5 minutes, and you'll see big old trees floating down. But it's those things that throw you off for sure. but
Yeah,
it
it goes
makes it
into one of
enjoyable.
those, if you say it with enough confidence, almost anybody will believe it type deal.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like running for office or something. Just say whatever you want and it'll work.
No, those, oh my gosh. I mean, like, there would be times we'd be giving tours, and the people, sometimes it'd be like a tour of 30 people or a tour of 2 people.
Hmm.
It would be so varied. And sometimes you just get those people that want to just talk to you about themselves.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm giving a guided tour here. Like, I don't care
Yes.
about your kids or your family or this.
Yeah. And that's still one thing, even, doing this now for Valley about 5, 6 years now. That's still one thing that kind of I have trouble with. Like, I'm fine with giving a tour or any type of program and really explaining it well to different groups. But when someone starts to interject, I still have trouble with, like, if it's other than a basic question, something you're kind of expecting. But yeah, when they start just going on this completely different tangent about their lives and their interests and stuff that, quite honestly, I'm going to forget when you leave in 30 minutes.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't throw you off.
You got to be pretty good at like public speaking then if you're giving all these tours and stuff.
Yeah. And I never really thought I would be, because, like, growing up, I was an energetic kid and through high school and college and stuff, but I never really took the reins and did any type of public speaking. I hated going, I hated class presentations. But I think I've learned that it's because when I get to talk about this stuff, it's stuff that I am passionate about. It's stuff that I enjoy. When you're told you're going to have to talk about something completely random that you've never heard of before and you got a week to prepare it,
Yeah.
and you know nothing about it, it's not fun. But when you get to talk about, history or wildlife or, nature and things like that, that really, for me personally, is fun, and it just comes naturally. Like, I still hate whenever we have, like, meetings in the office and I'm asked to talk in front of people. And I tell coworkers that, and they say, "Really? But you do so." I'm like, because I'm not passionate about it. And there's also the thought of, I know all these people I'm going to have to see them tomorrow. When it's a visitor, you and I are probably never going to see him again. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I was listening to a story, and this guy out here in Oregon, he used to be on a bus tour, and then, like, around Mount Hood area, and they'd get to this one part of the tour, first tour of the day to be like, it's Mount Hood, off to your right, it's at 1,129 or 293 feet elevation. Then you get to the next tour, and he'd be like, all right, there's Mount Hood, and it's at an elevation of 1,394 feet. Just every time he'd switch it up because, one, he didn't know, but two, he's like, it's different people every time, so it's like, why you just want to wing it.
Yep. They don't know what I said last time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't. Best part. I mean, the visitors are what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what, because I think where you were talking about having those people that you work with that you're like, oh gosh, I don't like them, right? Like, those are the people that you're working with every day because you're seeing them every day. So you have those relationships, those moments, whatever. But it's the new faces, the new people from all over. They have their own experiences. Being Native American myself, there was a few times that it was like, wow, you're the first Native person I've ever met in my life. And then ask them all these questions, and you're like, my voice isn't big enough to speak for all of us, but here's what I know, here's what I can tell you. And it's just, I think I'm glad that's one of the favorite things that you have in your job. And
yeah. It's cool. And, it just kind of reminds me, it's real neat, the experience I got to work with you and with your family, us becoming friends and getting to meet your family and learn from them. And then also the job, itself, allowing me to work with different Native American groups in Montana, was something I had never done before in my life. You know, Central Illinois is where I grew up. I mean, of course, there's a lot of history, a lot of Native history there, but not a lot of remains. You know, there's not a lot of people remaining in that area from that type of background. They've either been killed off or force moved away from that area. So that was a very eye-opening experience for me, and something that I thoroughly enjoyed. And it's kind of cool. In my position here on this forest, I get to work closely with some tribes of the area, like the Potawatomi and the Miami and the Delaware. We are the Hoosier National Forest is what the area of the Hoosier National Forest is today was historically used and historically and important land to 9 different fairly recognized tribes. So we work with all of them, but there's 3 or 4 that really are involved, and they come and do events and do a lot of cool stuff on forest and work with our archaeologists and stuff. So that's something that it started in Montana. That was my first exposure to it, and since then I still get to work with those groups of people, and it's really cool to get all these different viewpoints and histories that really I didn't learn about, going to school and stuff. I learned tons of stuff to give programs, and I do give programs on a lot of history on the forest, but then I learned from the tribal historians or the elders themselves, and they talk to me and like, hey, here's some things, if you want to talk about us, something, here's what we would find acceptable for you to speak about. So yeah, it's cool. I really like that aspect of still getting to learn new things while I'm working.
I was going to say, that seems like one of the cooler parts of the job that you do is you probably learn, you've learned a ton in your schooling, but then once you get actually into the field yourself, it seems like you're continually learning. And that's something I like about what I do. I work in the sports medicine field, but I learn stuff all the time. And so I think that's a cool aspect of a job. And it seems like you enjoy the learning aspect of it.
Definitely do. There's a lot of, and getting to meet new people. Like we kind of already hinted at the visitors, but also the partners that we work with. And that's one of the cool things, and not just my forest, but I think if anyone were to ever get involved, in this type of work throughout the country, there's so many opportunities, and so many different places to go. I mean, it's really broadened my horizons. I had never been out. I mean, growing up, I never went out west. And then all of a sudden I'm working in Wyoming and Montana. I worked it's probably been about 2 or 3 weeks now. I was out in California helping with the wildfires out there. That was my first ever wildfire detail. 16 days.
Were you out here or out in California for the recent fires?
Yes. So I was at the August complex, the one that's still going on in Redding, outside of Redding, California.
Yeah.
It's a little over 1 million acres burned now, and containment, last I checked, containment was only around 70%. So they're saying, up there, they're probably not going to go out till it snows. But I was never, in danger or anything. I helped with logistics and dispatch and radio operations, but just seeing how a fire camp operates and what goes into wildland firefighting, it was just another great learning experience. It was good for me. I felt productive. I felt like I was helping, and again, met so many great people that shared a lot of their experiences with me, people that have been fighting fires for decades. Got to talk with them and say, yeah, this is my first one ever, and now I'm working with someone who's done it for 30 years, so
that's really cool.
It is. You get a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I want to kind of go touch into the whole firefighting thing,
Hmm.
because honestly, I think it's kind of legit. But like, kind of what exactly, if you can go into a little bit more detail of what you did to help out with those fires while you were over there.
Sure. So basically, every year, whenever local resources are not sufficient, they'll send out a call uh, throughout throughout the whole country um, for any resources to go and help. The Forest Service, like I work for the Forest Service, actually is um, literally the largest standing you know, firefighting team in the world. Um, there's about 30,000 plus Forest Service employees, and about 20,000 of them are qualified to do some type of help. Whether, even if it's not frontline, you know, digging line, pulling hose, something like I did, you know, like helping with dispatch. There's about 20,000 of us that have some type of,
That's neat.
um, yeah, it's amazing. And it's not just the Forest Service, though. You know, it's BLM. Like when we work for the Bureau of Land Management, they have a large group. National Park, even National Park people in the National Park Service do it. Different, and all the states have their own state wildland fire as well. But for me, what I did was I flew out to Sacramento and then drove up from Sacramento up to Redding, and um, we did dispatch and helped move medics around. So we had on-call medics that were stationed at different, they call them drop points, where they drop off all the um, firefighters for the day, and then they hike into where vehicles cannot access. And we're constantly on call. If anyone gets injured, we take all the information down and we dispatch the closest medic to them, and then we have to figure out, do they need just an ambulance ride, or do they need to, you know, be airlifted out of there, or what. So that was a big part of it. I had to run some medicals where people got injured, and I had to, you know, get a contact of ambulances and stuff. Luckily, nothing big that I had to deal with, just like I think a hyperextended knee, probably like a torn MCL or something. They had to carry the guy out. And then another one was a minor head laceration, but he was conscious and everything. So, but I had, you know, send in the ambulance and stuff. So that was part of it. And then the other part was getting to go out to where like radio repeaters are, and helping, 'cause, you know, the weather out there, especially with the fire, even though they're on, you know, tall areas where it's rocky and they're not going to burn, the high winds, that the natural winds and then the winds that the fire create just damage the heck out of them. So it would go up there sometimes and repair radio towers, and put up new receivers and stuff to make sure that all the communications on the fire were going smoothly. I got, I say I got to, I actually enjoyed it. I worked the night shift. So I worked from like 6 p.m. to like 8 a.m.
Oh, wow.
all night. And it was actually pretty busy. Because a lot of them at that time, a lot of back burning is done where they set fire on purpose. So certain areas don't burn uncontrollably.
Yeah.
And protecting structures and stuff. So it was busy. It was nonstop. I had about a day total, you know, adding up all the hours into about one day to like explore a little bit. So I did get to see some parts of Northern California, but most of the time it was either work or sleep. So
Yeah.
but it went by quick. It goes
I
by
lived
quick.
in the Humboldt area for the last 3 years. So I mean, I know that the fires can do that area, man. And I mean, the fact that you went out, you're all the way in, you know, you said you live in Kentucky right now, working in Indiana, flying out to help the people in California. That's awesome, man. I can't thank you enough, because I know how the fires are up there. So, or down there now for me, but you know,
Yeah.
and it's awesome that, you know, everybody from around the country can come and help out when we as Americans need it, you know.
Yeah, it is a really good, you know, you forget about everything. I mean, political affiliation, race, sex, gender, whatever it has. I mean, everyone. It's a team. It's a huge team, and all that stuff's put on the back burner, and it's a really good community. I mean, in those camps and stuff, everyone's got each other's back. At least from what I saw,
Yeah.
And what I continue to hear is, I mean, you got a rotten egg a rotten apple here and there, but most of those peak guys and gals out there doing that work, they just, you got each other's back. It's great. It's a real
awesome.
uplift. It sucks to see the world burn, but at the same time, it's really uplifting to see all these people from different backgrounds coming together to get the job done.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is for sure something. It sounds like it was pretty cool learning experience for you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Were you able to see the two Dennies there in Reading? They're right there, right off the interstate, right across the street from one another. Those two Dennies.
It's funny. I did not see that, but there was a guy. One of the guys I worked with. He was a food connoisseur, I think. But he's like, there's like two Dennies like right next to each other. I never saw it, but it's funny you say that because some guy did say that. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. You can like just pick which one you want to go to. It's
literally because I've only driven through Reading, but we were on the interstate and it's like, oh, there's one on that side of the interstate and there's one on that side of the interstate.
Yeah, literally the interstate I-5 is what splits them, but there's a road that connects the two. So even though if you're just staying on the interstate, you can maybe say, oh, maybe you have to go up and around type deal, but like no, there's a tunnel that goes underneath the interstate. Like if you wanted to get a apple pie at one and hop over for the big slam scramble, whatever they got the other, you totally could.
That's awesome. That is pretty damn funny.
Right? It's like, all right, sure. No, Northern California is cool. I'm glad you got to go out there. I'm disappointed you didn't get to go over to the Redwoods a little bit because you and nature and knowing you personally, it's one of those places. Like I took Tyler there for the first time to visit Mark here in August, and just the like, oh my God, wow, looking around, looking at these trees and just feeling like an ant, but like also being like, those aren't just big trees, but they're big trees. And you would get it, and it's just
I definitely want to go sometime and just see. There's a thing on the news and then Facebook and stuff. It's all on the social medias. I guess a big ass tree like washed up on shore. I think on the Pacific coast. Like, and it's a huge tree, and there's people like going to see it now, and I don't know if it's Washington or Oregon. It's one of the two.
Well,
I mean, that really narrows it down. I know, but
over there though, he's in Seaside, which is that north corner of Oregon, on the coast. You just got to go up and down. Yeah.
You look for it, you'll see it. But they showed some guy, like 6-foot guy standing next to it, and like you said, he looks like a dang ant. It's just.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. Oh yeah, I bet.
He's googling it right now. I can see it. The reflection.
Very good.
I'm trying. It says there's a big tree that washed up about a year ago. One washed up in Washington.
Have you ever seen whales, like a beached whale?
No, I've never seen a beached whale. But so like where I live in Oregon right now, it's like right next to the Columbia River, Astoria, the mouth into the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
And like the last few years, they've had like whales actually like come up the river like a decent ways, which has been like really odd. They even had a great white shark do the same thing a couple of years ago.
Shoot.
And it's weird because like it's that mixture of like salt and water combined. So I had no idea they could live in that mixture of water.
Yeah. What'd you call it, Zach?
Brackish.
Brackish?
Brackish.
Brackish. Oh. Yeah, that's crazy.
The only reason I know that is because I bought some crabs, some like freshwater. They're called freshwater crabs. Like Walmart was able to sell fish. Now they don't anymore. I looked it up online, and it was like, no, these fish need that, or these crabs need like that salt mixture in there, and it's brackish, is what they called it.
Huh.
So, I know.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Brackish.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I've never seen a whale wash up on the beach. Seen a ton of seals that have washed up, like dead ones before. I'm trying to think if I've seen anything else cool wash up on the
Kayak next
beach.
to those whales.
No, I didn't kayak. We went whale watching when we were up in Canada, and I mean we got really close to them for sure. They were like hunting seals, and I didn't even know this until the gal that was like she was a biologist doing all the talking on our whale watching thing. She said you can tell when they get the seal because you start smelling cucumber in the air. And sure as heck, you do smell like cucumber. It's like a weird cucumber smell that you like. It's weird. You never would think like like a seal getting chomped smells like cucumber.
It's actually pleasant.
Yeah, right. Out of all the things you would think, like you got like cucumber water smell.
Wow, that's weird. You know what? I don't think I've ever seen that I'd like to see, not dead, I'd like to see it alive, is sea otters.
Oh my
But I've seen a lot of river otters, but I've never seen a live sea otter. Unless when I was little, we saw it at an aquarium or something. I don't remember that.
They are beautiful creatures.
Yeah, I've only ever seen them in a zoo or something.
The Portland Zoo had one that he enjoyed pleasuring himself. Like that was like a thing. Like when he died, they're like, "Yeah, it was one of those things." I have a picture of this otter, and he's just looking at himself. Like, yeah. That was just
That's
him.
awesome.
Frank or whatever his name was, or Eddie.
Yeah, right.
It was something simple. But
I bet you'd feel if you were someone that went and he started doing it, it'd probably make you feel good about yourself. Like, wow, an otter's pleasuring himself to me. That's awesome.
He thinks I'm cute.
That was the thing. Like he did it all the time. It was like, he gets his fish a day, his 4 square fish a day or whatever it is,
Oh my god, that's cool.
Well, it's like when you see those chimpanzees at the zoos that fling their poop at the visitors.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's Portland's version. There's the Portland's. Yeah.
You gotta change it up a little bit there.
No, I've seen them once or twice out on the ocean. I was in Washington, I want to say. And, from where I was seeing, they're just little dots swimming around.
Yeah.
Like, they're cute.
Yeah, they look cute. They're adorable.
Yeah, they do. They look adorable.
Speaking of cute animals, are you pumped for the Pac-12 to start soon and the Beavs?
Yeah.
Mark was also a mascot.
Oh, were you? I know that. Yeah, I know you were, Benny.
Yeah, we were both mascots while we were down there.
Oh, awesome.
I actually got right there is one of the Benny jerseys. I framed it finally.
Really?
Hung up. It's over there. Yeah.
That's great.
No, it was a fun little time. It'll be interesting watching them start up football here kind of late in the season with other teams playing who they play. College football is college football, and I think they kind of ruined this season by the way it rolled out as separate. But go Beavs, eh?
Hey, there you go.
Well, my parents actually moved back to Oregon, so
they're
excited. They bought a house or a little farm out there, and they're just kind of living that life. But I know they're excited for all the football stuff. I'm the only one left here in Montana. It feels like.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got a roommate?
Well, Thea.
Oh shit! Yeah, you got that's a good roommate.
The fiance, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's good. Living the dream. She's working, so she's kind of doing so she works up in a rural hospital up on the Fort Peck reservation in Wolf Point, where she's from. So she'll work there like 8 or 6 days on, and then she'll have 8 days off. So she'll come.
Okay, gotcha.
You
That's cool.
Right? Kelsey does that too, right?
Yeah, she does 3 12s,
Oh,
and then she gets 4 days off.
that's not bad.
So, yeah, it works out pretty well.
Is she doing back to back?
Almost always.
Because that's what, yeah. So she's doing the same thing Thea does, where it's like 6 days on, 8 days off. Yeah.
Yep.
Same rotation.
Yeah. The only time she doesn't is if, schedules are weird and they really need someone on a particular day because they're going to have a lot of surgeries or whatever. Then they'll be like, hey, we don't need you this day. You've got to come in this day instead. So, but yeah, for the most part, it's 3 in a row.
Good.
So 4-day weekends all the time. You can't beat that.
Right?
Yeah, right.
You still do that? I know I know at the BLM we did that where they would give us those. We worked 4 10s, so we'd have.
Yes, I miss that. So a lot of positions in like on the force I work on still do that, where a lot of people go do 4 10s, but my position cannot do that because in addition to all my other duties, I am technically the backup for the front desk. So like if the main front desk person is sick, has to call in sick, or ask for a day off or something, then I'm usually the first go-to to cover the front desk. Wow. Granted, we haven't had a front desk. We're still in a COVID protocol, so our offices are like half open. Like people are going in for some work, but our offices are not open to the public right now.
Oh.
Still. I mean, we check phone messages every day, like we call in, get the messages and call out, and I'll help with that a little bit. Mainly our front desk person does that. So, and answering all the emails and stuff. So we're still servicing the public. It's just no one can come into the office now. We're still on a max telework, and that's been kind of frustrating. So I've been working a lot. That's kind of forced me to try some ingenuity with doing virtual things like Zoom with like classrooms and college visits that way, and then just random programs for anyone who wants to tune in and watch. So it's been hit and miss. Sometimes I'll log on and schoolroom, they're kind of forced to watch me. But, these other ones, sometimes I'll get 100 people viewing it at one time, and then sometimes it's like one person. It's just like, well.
Yeah, I have a brother-in-law that teaches high school Spanish. It sounds like they get that, and these kids are supposed to be in school, type. It could be 1, it could be 100.
Wow.
So it sounds like the Zoom schooling is just a headache for people.
It's not terrible for me to do it for like 40 minutes, but God, yeah, I can't imagine being a teacher or some other educational professional and just doing it day after day, all day long. That's got to be just draining.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Hydrate or Dihydrate. Because you got to drink water, people. Hydrate. If you don't hydrate, you're going to dihydrate. So please hydrate or dihydrate. Enjoy listening.
Yeah.
We Zoom too with our work. I mean, we've been kind of doing it regardless. Before COVID, even we'd have Zoom and like Skype business and those type of chats, just because we're working with agencies in New York or San Diego or wherever they're at. So it was kind of one of those for us. So I'm like, yeah, I get it.
You get how to make it work. Hey, little side note, I got to tell you something. Ever since I moved to Kentucky, I have fallen in love with bourbon. So,
of course you have.
I think you guys need to get a bourbon sponsor.
All right.
Hey, I'm all for it. I've never really drinking much of it, but I've heard it's amazing out there. So
it is.
I went to, when I was living in Cincinnati, I did that Bourbon Trail. I just did one of the stops, and it was one in Lexington. It was kind of like a newer bourbon Like, it was just like, oh look, there's one. Let's do it. My roommate was with me in the car,
Yeah.
and I don't like hard alcohol. I mean, you guys have both seen me not do well with hard alcohol, so yeah.
Have you done the Bourbon Trail down there, Alexander?
I've hit spots of it, so I'm kind of in the middle. Like when I was the same as you guys. I never had it before I moved here, other than maybe someone bought a cheap ass kind and
Yeah.
used it the same way you use cheap vodka or rum, you know.
Yep.
So it definitely is like a technique to actually making it taste good. Because if you just take a swig of it, you're like, this is disgusting. But yeah, I've done a few. There's one actually in the city we live in. We live in Owensboro. Population's about 60,000. It's right on the Ohio River, so it's a nice area. We love it. But there's one distillery here, and then as you get closer, yeah, to like Lexington and Louisville, they're just everywhere. And it's not quite to the extent, but it's almost like microbreweries where there's just, especially when you get into those 2 or 3 counties around Louisville, it's like there's 3 or 4 every square mile. It seems. I mean, that's probably a bit of exaggeration, but it feels like it.
Still,
yeah,
that's
right.
a lot.
Down there, you guys have those weird, like, this county has alcohol, this one doesn't.
Yes. So that was my wife's first question when I said, hey, I want you to move to Kentucky with me. She said, are we moving to a dry county?
Because no, I'm not, right?
I said, no, we're not. She goes, okay, I'll come with you. She's like, I'm not moving down there if it's dry. But funny.
Neither were you, though.
Huh?
Neither were you, though.
Oh, hell no. I would have moved next to the next county. But it's funny because the county next to us was dry up until last year. They voted to go wet, but so they were dry. Now they're wet. But it's weird because they've been wet.
Funny how alcohol does that, huh?
I guess, but they've been wet for a year now, and there's still like no bar or liquor store in their county. There's a few, like they'll sell beer at the gas station or the grocery store now, but I guess it's just probably a very old school process they got to go through. Probably the laws haven't changed much since the 1700s or something.
Yeah, probably something like that.
But no, it's cool. There's a lot of stops. There's a lot of stops on the tour, and I've gone to a few. Like I've hit some big ones like Evan Williams and Wild Turkey, and there's another big Jim Beam. I've been to the Jim Beam one. So, and they're all beautiful. Like they're on these they're just huge rolling hills just forever. But
do you get to like tour the distillery?
Yeah. So mostly what they tend to do. Which one did you tour the distillery and then like do a tasting? That's what we tend to do.
Yeah, they did that, but they also had beer at the one I went to. So like they did like 2 parts of the
That's
tour.
cool.
Yeah, so I like that part because I drink beer.
Dang, I want to find that one because I'd still more rather have beer than bourbon, but I try to look fancy.
Right.
I hate to do this to your beautiful people in Kentucky, but every stereotype that I've ever heard about Kentucky was proven true when I was there. So, you got the rich, crazy, the rich horse guy, I was in a McDonald's and this family, dude, like, I get it. Like, times are tough. People's, like, life sucks and it's just what it is. But, I mean, like, this family, like, walked barefoot into a McDonald's, but they, like, were living out of their van.
Oh.
We were on our way to, like, the Red River Gorge.
Mm-hmm.
And, like down there, like...
Oh, yeah.
That's Kentucky.
It's shit, yeah. There's a lot of hillbillies around here.
I didn't realize it.
No, it's funny. We live in Owensboro. Our county is called Daviess County. Just to the south of us is Ohio County. No one says the word Ohio. It's apparently too long to say. Everyone just said Ohio County. Like it's Ohio County.
Like Louisville
no one down here says Ohio.
No. And like Louisville, like Louisville, Louisville, like it's Louisville. Like
Louisville. Yeah.
Like Louisville.
Exactly.
What?
They're just trying to get it out real quick.
Yeah.
It is what it is. That's why I was on the north side of the river in Cincinnati.
Yep. Oh man. Yeah, there's some funny groups of people down here, that's for sure. Some interesting characters, and we went. My parents came to visit one weekend, and we decided to go to a barn jamboree.
Okay.
And it was down to High County, and we got down there, and the barn is probably the size of a typical barn, but you go in, and they had folding seats like theater seats that had probably been there since like the 60s or 70s. Like they were old as could be, and there was 6 or 7 people up on this little they made a stage basically out of reinforced those things that people ship stuff on.
What is the container vans or container?
No,
containers.
Like the wood platforms.
Yeah.
Pallets.
Pallets, yes.
Yeah.
It was like reinforced pallets, and they're just up there playing the banjo and the fiddle. Oh man, it was something else.
There?
Oh yeah, the washboard and the spoons and.
Oh, that's honestly, that sounds amazing to go to, though.
It was quite the experience, and we walked out and talked to some local, and my mom's like, she's like, "This is so cute. You guys do this all the time?" And the lady should go, "Oh yeah, we're picking on the poach tomorrow. You can come pick on the poach with us." Like, do what now? Picking on the poach. Like, oh,
I'm probably just like, what? Like,
my mom looked at me. I go, "I think they're picking on the porch tomorrow." I
want to know what that meant either.
No, but you're not wrong. I mean, it's like you hear that and it's quick talk. It's a quick like bing bang boom bop, and you're just what? Did that just come out of your mouth? I feel dumb for not understanding.
Because everyone else here understands, but I don't.
Oh my god! Like the first time that happened to me is I went to go tour the Kentucky Derby, because I was like, I gotta go see Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
And I pulled in, and like, I don't know, like it was the guy parking me in the parking lot. He had maybe 3 teeth total, and he talked like that quick. Just you go over to park over there, and you're just like, and I looked at him like dumb, like what just was said to me, and he's getting mad, because I'm not listening, I'm not parking, and you're just, oh my god.
When it hits you that first time, you're just like, oh man, what is going on here?
It's a wave.
It really is. It's hysterical.
Hey, so anyway, I got to be the guy. I am always the guy here, it seems. We are reaching the end of our time. So we do, our final words. And since, Alexander, you've been such an awesome guest and everything, we're going to let you take the first final words. Anything you want to say at all, it's your floor. Words of encouragement, words of wisdom. You can promote yourself, promote anything. Just do anything you want, my guy.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'll promote, one thing I get to do a lot for work, I get to promote Smokey Bear. So definitely his message, but also my other buddy, not as many people know, Woodsy Al. And I think anyone that likes to listen to your guys' podcast understand that a big part of it is, how much joy we all get out of what we do, both in our work life, but also what we do in our free time, going and exploring and seeing different parts of this great country and stuff. And definitely, that mentality of, that leave no trace, leave it the way you find it. Make sure the next visitors, the next generation comes and gets to see all these wonderful things that our country, that the natural wonders that our country's been blessed with. So that's always my big shout out, and I really hope people take the lesson from that. I learned it not at a young age. I actually learned it a little bit later on. I never really had that respect until I got a little bit older. So that's a big thing. I guess the World Series is starting tonight. I think I'm going to root for the Rays. So I think I'm going to go for Tampa. I figured that no matter which team wins, that city will have 2 championships this year because the Lightning won the Stanley Cup and the Lakers won the NBA championship. So I'm not going to feel sorry for either fan base.
Yeah.
So, but I think I'm going to say Tampa Bay, and I'm going to say 6.
Okay.
All right,
I dig it. You heard it here first, people. Tampa Bay and 6.
No, I think that's a good one. I mean, they are hugely underrepresented with money on that Tampa Bay team. So
God, yeah.
2 players on the Los Angeles Dodgers make more than the whole team together. So I think that's why I'm going to pick Tampa. I'm going to say, I'm going to say in 7. Just
7, yeah.
7.
I was going between 6 or 7. So I figured that. Yeah.
Zach, final words.
My final words. I like Alexander's point, leave no trace. That is a huge thing. I like to say leave it better than you found it so that the people behind you can enjoy it and leave it even better than they found it. And that is something we need to do with our Mother Earth because sometimes we don't. We just dig that hole and leave it. Let's fill it in, put some grass, plant a tree, whatever. Do whatever you got to do and leave your best mark. So that's all I have. Next up is Mark.
Reverend's final words of wisdom. I'm going to, besides staying beautiful, everyone out there, thank you so much. And thank you, Alexander. Today was awesome. I really enjoyed the interview today. Can't thank you enough for joining us. I'm kind of just going to keep piggybacking off you guys as Woodsy the Owl. Leave it away, better than you found it. Let's take care of this earth. It does a lot for us. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And we should take care of it. You don't treat your stuff bad. So treat the world the same way because the earth is yours. So that being said, peace out, everybody.